Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're having a look at Lucid stock. So is Lucid Motors headed for an all-time low? That's a very good question. This article was published 5 days ago. It's been rumored lately due to the fact that there's more rumors saying that the company could essentially be bought out entirely, which could mean that the company could be taken private. This can affect the stock price in multiple ways. This can make the stock price be affected in so many different ways. So it says here, Lucid Motors, the Lucid stock, is dropping alongside a new analyst price target. This could see Lucid's share falling below $5 each. If so, that would be an all-time low for the company. Interesting. Keep in mind that the current share price, $11.62. Wow, look at that. We've got a Fisker advertisement on our right there. I haven't seen a lot of Fisker's advertisement, but it's good to see. As we know, they're being built by Magna Steyr. And I do believe the Fisker Oceans, they went into production, was it November? Could be wrong. What we have to keep in mind is that before the share price of Lucid went absolutely crazy, the share was just around $9, $8. But despite that, it was actually going up in share price from 4th of January to around the 27th, 26th of January. The share price went from around $6.68 to around $9. So it's actually going up. So given that there's some information that analysts are saying that the share price could go down to $5, that's looking more unlikely. It is looking very unlikely, despite the fact that it would make the company just around 11 billion in market cap, and that would still be overvalued. Despite all of that, I don't think it's going to happen. And it's on the value based on the deliveries that they're making. They're not making a lot of deliveries. However, if you take into consideration the company's IP, their intellectual property, they are more valuable than 21 billion, in my opinion. But take into consideration their delivery numbers, they're not making enough money to justify this valuation. The only thing that can justify such an evaluation is their IP.
With Lucid, it's a top trending ticker on Yahoo Finance. Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas making the case that Lucid stock is heading lower and that the fundamental outlook is, quote, more likely deteriorating than improving. One thing that has Jonas worried is Tesla's price cuts. He's saying that's because he thinks it could lead to a drop in Lucid reservations. And that's not all. Demand for its high-priced cars, that could suffer given the current economic environment and the rising rate environment right now. Fed's expected to raise rates again tomorrow. Now, when it comes to Lucid's relationship with Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Jonas noted that the relationship between the two could, quote, extend beyond a controlling shareholder status, and that guidance and support from Saudi Arabia will, quote, potentially enhance Lucid's long-term infrastructure and supply chain development. Now, Ines, he does have an underweight rating on the stock, thinking it could fall substantially further.
Yeah, that's very interesting that they say that, because I've always stick to the idea that if there's no buyout, the Saudi investment fund, if they're not trying to buy out Lucid, there's still something going on. And most importantly, they own majority of the company. So they probably have control and vote or control and stake within the company. There's definitely something going on. We just don't know yet what exactly it is. We're assuming that it could be a buyout, but that's because that's the easy assumption to make at the moment.
Further than it is today. And of course, this is contrary to kind of the rally that we saw in Lucid following that report about the fact that Saudi Arabia could potentially buy out the remaining stake in Lucid. So I think there's big question marks out on the street just in terms of what this company is going to look like over the next couple of quarters.
Yeah, and how much they'll be able to produce going forward. But also that rally that you mentioned, I had reached out to an analyst that talked about the short interest on the stock that was over 20% short interest. So you were seeing a huge short squeeze with that headline. He said it's a really dangerous time to be in electric vehicle stocks right now.
So this new forecast of $5 all-time low, it's being forecast by Morgan Stanley. Big institution, quite well known to be honest. So here's something important to note, right? The big upswing in Lucid share price, this was caused by the circulating rumor of the Saudi Public Investment Fund, basically saying that they plan to purchase the remainder shares of the Lucid company, which would cause traders and investors to pile into the beaten down stock. And at that particular time, Lucid shares saw its highest level of trading since November the 16th, 2021. Not 2022, 2021. So I'd definitely like to confirm that. So let's look at the last 6 months at least. And of course, we're going back to November. So if we're going back to November 2022, the share price at the time was $12.91. So I think that article was incorrect. The article might have meant to say 2022, not 2021, because last year was 2022. So I think the article made a mistake, to be honest. Back in 2021, middle of November, 15th of November, for Lucid share was $55 per share. So that's some crazy numbers. But I think they meant 2022 last year. What's important to note as well is said that on Monday, BofA Security issued a note on Lucid, reiterating its belief that Lucid require funding. To prior research, analyst John Murphy believed that the company will need $10 billion over the next 5 years. The firm maintained its buy-in rate and price target of $18, which suggests about 50% upside from the current share price. So about $10 billion for the next 5 years. And by the way, in my opinion, I think they'd need more for the next 5 years because they need more vehicles. Yes, they're working on the Lucid Dream, which is an SUV, I do believe. Ideally, what Lucid should be doing right now is similar numbers to Rivian, in my opinion. But they're going to fall back a lot for the next 5 years. And it's not because they can't build these vehicles. It's because they don't have the funding or the facility. Now, the interesting thing is that getting the funding is easy because they're majority owned by the Saudi investment group, which has an abundance of money and funding. So getting that funding is easier for them compared to other startups. And that's mostly because, but the cash that they have on hand might be a lot less than 10 billion, of course, which could cause some problems for them. But I'd always reiterate that what they need most is a lot more vehicles, different models, for cheaper prices as well. So Saudi Arabia's homegrown all-electric car brand, Sir, says that the country is gunning for a yearly production of 500,000 EVs by 2030. This signals a major policy shift for the world's biggest crude oil exporter. Here's how it may involve Lucid, Hyundai, BMW, iPhone manufacturer Foxconn. So here's what's more interesting. What about Lucid? The same PIF, the Public Investment Fund that owns Sir Manufacturing Group, also has a majority stake, 65% in Lucid. The investment fund we're talking about that is rumored to buy out Lucid, that's the same investment firm that owns the majority in this manufacturing auto manufacturing company in Saudi Arabia. So even though the American auto brand is not as profitable as Tesla or as well as Rivian and does not plan on producing high volume, low cost all electric cars soon, that's the problem in my opinion. It's beginning to regard as one of the best innovators in the EV space. Most recently, Lucid CEO and CTO Peter Rawlinson introduced an in-house built motorsport electric drive unit that has the power of density of 14.7 horsepower per kilogram, is capable of incredible energy recuperation, and weighs only 70.5 pounds. That's 32 kilograms, I believe. So keep in mind, the company that owns both Lucid and Sir, they have an combining interest. Truth to be told, that reaffirms a lot of things for me, especially the idea that there's something big happening in the background. I'm not sure if it's a complete buyout. They want complete control of the company. I'm not too sure, but there's definitely something on the horizon, something happening in the background. Now, the market isn't open yet. Today's Monday. I'm making this video at 1 p.m. Market isn't open yet. For pre-hours trading, there you go. Pre-hours trading there's not a big difference compared to the current market, but it's jumping all over the place. Like the pre-hours trading is jumping all over the place. That tends to mean that starting out, the share prices is going to be a bit volatile. I wouldn't be too surprised if it goes down, because especially if the market trends downward, Lucid will take a big hit this morning. So that's something to look out for. That's something to keep an eye on. Absolutely. But for now, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like, leave a comment. And of course, I'll see you in the next video.